Hi, and welcome to the podcast Foods of Philly. Today I'll be going through many of the different foods and restaurants Philadelphia has to offer. I'll start off with none other than the Philadelphia cheesesteak. The Philadelphia cheesesteak, the thing everyone who goes to Philadelphia comes for. Now there are many places you can go for a cheesesteak. Some places are Pat's King of Steaks, which is the founder of the cheesesteak, or you can go to Geno's, Jim's, or even John's Roast Pork, which is ranked number one cheesesteak place in Philadelphia. Now before we all go hungry, I'll give you a little background information about the cheesesteak. The cheesesteak, created in 1930 by two brothers, Pat and Harry Oliveri, they sold hot dogs. They got tired of the same old thing, so they decided to go their roots, Italian frizzled beef. But this was just the beginning of the cheesesteak. You see, Pat and Harry Oliveri, original cheesesteak had no cheese. It was just steak and bread, a steak sandwich. But the person who brought cheese into the mix was a man named Joe Lorenzo, a manager at Pat's. He first brought in provolone cheese, then in 1952, Cheez Whiz replaced provolone cheese. Now the next thing that happened was Geno's Steaks, who opened up a block away from them. These two places created a rivalry, and that is still here today. Now that you know the history of the Philadelphia cheesesteak, I can tell you the places you need to go to get the best steak. According to visitphilly.com, the best place to go is John's Roast Pork, located at 14 Snyder Avenue. Now, the creators of Philadelphia cheesesteak is ranked at number 3, and one rank behind them is none other than Geno's Steak, ranked at number 4. Now, that's all you need to know about the Philadelphia cheesesteak. It's time to go on our next topic, Tastykakes. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Foods of Philly. Now, we just talked about the cheesesteak and history of it and where it is now. Now it's time to talk about none other than everyone's favorite, Tastykake. Yep, that's right. I'm going to be going through the history of the Tastykake company. To start the Tastykake off, I'm going through the history of the company and its product. The story of Tastykake starts off with Philip Brouwer, who's the co-founder. Philip's father owned a bakery called Brouwer Brothers Bakery located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. At a young age, Philip learned the basics of baking that were taught by his father. Later in life, Philip Brouwer's father sold the bakery. When Philip's father sold the bakery, Philip decided to team up with an egg salesman named Herbert Morris. The two of them had an idea of individually wrapped bakery snacks that were made and delivered fresh every day. They raised $50,000, and on February 25, 1914, the Tastykake Company was born. The product was ready, but they needed a place to create what is a fan favorite today. Now, when Mr. Brouwer, Philip Brouwer's father, sold the bakery, a deal was made. No family member could start another bakery within 100 miles of the Brouwer Brothers Bakery. Now, since they could not start a company in Pittsburgh, their sights were set on Philadelphia. They searched for 3 days until they came along Sedgley Avenue in Germantown area. Now, I bet you are wondering, where does the name come from? Well, here's the answer. The name Tastykake comes from Herbert's wife, Wilhelmine, who said, "What a tasty cake." And so, the name was born, Tastykake, even though no one knows where the idea of a K instead of a C in cake comes from. The first batch of Tastykake made in Philadelphia made $28, selling at 10 cents a piece. At the end of the week, they made $222, and at the end of the year, they made about $300,000. A fun fact for you, Tastykakes used to be sold on a horse and wagon, and the last horse and wagon was retired in 1941. In 1920, the company grew out of the first factory and had to move to a new location at Hunting Park Ave. With this location came better equipment like a gravity-fed ingredient system. Now in 1927, the fan favorite Tastykake, the Krimpet, was born. Now more and more Tastykakes come along, including the pies created in 1930 and the candy cakes in 1931, and more. The Tastykakes Company was a baking company with a great product, but also would serve its country during World War II. The 203 workers from Tastykake Company served in World War II, and the company donated over 10,000 Tastykakes, including Krimpets and candy cakes. Now, in the 1950s, Tastykake teamed up with all the Philadelphia teams, like the Flyers, Phillies, and Eagles, and many more teams from all around the United States. In 2009, the Tastykake Company moved once again, and now is still located in the Navy Yard today. Tastykakes is a classic pick in Philadelphia, but it's not just the only one. I will be back after this, getting into our next Food of Philly. And we're back. Wow, already talked about 2 of the most famous foods in Philly, Tastykakes and cheesesteak. Now we're going into another one, the Philadelphia pretzel. Now, pretzels started out in 610 AD with the French. Today, there are more places to get a Philadelphia soft pretzel, but there are 2 places known in Philly for the best: Philadelphia Pretzel Factory and the Center City Pretzel Company. Both great places, but some are preferred one over the other. I know I do. To start off, I'm going to start with the Center City Pretzel Company. This company was created in 1981 by a family called the Bunnets. This company is a kosher company and has one location in Philadelphia, located at 816 Washington Ave. They are not just known for their pretzels, but also for their mustard as well. This company has said they have not been moving or opening another store. There is not too much about this company, so we'll move to my favorite, Philly Pretzel Factory. The Philadelphia Pretzel Factory first store opened in Mayfair, Pennsylvania in 1998. The co-founder, Dan DiGiorno, had been selling pretzels since he was 11 years old. After he and his roommate, Lee Lehman, graduated from college, the two decided to open up a first soft pretzel factory. Today, this company has stores in 12 states and is continuing to grow. Overall, pretzels in Philadelphia are eaten every day, and it's just a tiny piece of the history of the city. A fun fact, did you know that Philadelphians eat 12 times as many pretzels in a year than anywhere else? Well, we've discussed pretzels, cheesesteaks, and the company Tastykakes. Now it's time to go back to a Philadelphia classic, Goldenberg's Peanut Chews. Welcome back to Foods of Philly. Now I already have talked about the cheesesteak, Tastykake, and pretzels. Now on to another sweet treat made in Philly, Goldenberg Peanut Chews. This company started out in 1917 by the Goldenberg family during World War I. They were made and shipped over to the Miltons fighting in the war. These classic treats everyone loves are high protein and delicious. The founder of the company, Carl Goldenberg, at 85 years old, died on October 14, 2013. He had prostate cancer and died at home. The Goldenberg Peanut Chews are very popular and have gone through some tough times as well. They have one time ditched the old classic wrapper for a new one to target 18 to 24-year-old men, the biggest chocolate and peanut candy consumer. This new and improved recipe and wrapper hit the West Coast and, well, failed. In 2012, they came back again with the New Year's parade with the phrase, "Chewin' it old school," and Philly, born and raised. It was a hit, and now business is back. Peanut Chews, the taste of Philly, people say, is one of Philly's historic candies. Born and raised. Now, I know all this talk is making you hungry for some more. We'll be right back after this into a new Irish topic. Hi, and welcome back. Now, I gave you a little hint on what we'll be talking about next. Something Irish. Irish potatoes are what I'm going to be talking about next. Irish potatoes. They were created in Philadelphia, a combination of cream cheese, butter, confectioner's sugar, coconut, vanilla, and some milk, or if you prefer cream, rolled into a ball and then covered in cinnamon. These dessert potatoes are what everyone wants when they're craving something sweet. Irish potatoes are great, but there's one brand that comes from Philadelphia that everyone craves. O'Ryan's. O'Ryan's brand of Irish potato have been made in Philadelphia since 1989, but did you know that they're called Irish potatoes, but you would not find them anywhere in Ireland? Well, I'll believe it. It's true. You would not find these sweet treats in Ireland on a St. Patrick's Day dinner table. O'Ryan's Irish potatoes ship about 82,000 pounds of Irish potatoes between January and March each year. Now, I know everyone's thinking about how much they would enjoy 1 or 10 Irish potatoes right now, but it's time to go on to our next food of Philly, the famous hoagie. And we're back. Welcome to Foods of Philly, everyone. Now, we've gone through cheesesteaks and Tastykakes, pretzels, peanut chews, and Irish potatoes. Now it's time to go to, well, you know, the hoagie. Yes, that's right. I'm talking about the hoagie. Now, at other places, it's called a sandwich or even a sub. But no, not here in Philadelphia. The hoagie, in 1992, was named the official sandwich of Philadelphia. Hoagies are Italian, if you didn't know. They were brought into Philadelphia when Italian immigrants during World War I were working, and for lunch they would bring these giant sandwiches. And these workers worked on Hog Island, and the people who worked there were called hoagies. And the name just kind of stuck with the sandwich, but with a different spelling. The hoagie is a great part of Philadelphia's Italian history, and now that we've covered most of the great historic foods of Philadelphia, it's time to go into famous restaurants of Philadelphia when we come back. And we're back, going into a different subject, the historic restaurants of Philadelphia. Now let's jump right in and talk about the oldest tavern in Philly. The oldest tavern in Philly is a place called McGillen's Old Ale House. This place opened its doors in 1860 and is still here today. The founders of this place are a couple named Catherine and William McGillen. They raised their 13 kids upstairs, and originally the tavern's name was not the name it had today. The story behind this is that the people who used to come here called it McGillin's because that's where they lived and it was their last name. And the name just kind of stuck after that. Now, a little thing this tavern does, it has all the signs of every place that it's closed near them because they've gone out of business. For a while, McGillin's never sold food, but today they do. When the cheesesteak came around, the tavern also started serving it as well. And might say, it's pretty good. Catherine dies in 1937 and William dies in 1901. Later in 1958, the two brothers buy the tavern, and three generations later, it is still in their family. Today, the tavern also has received many awards, including Travel Channel's, where it was called the best Irish bar in the United States. Well, one of them. If you want to check this historic place out, it is located at 1310 Drury Street, Philadelphia. When we come back, I will be going into our next historic restaurant. Hi, and welcome back. Our next historic restaurant is an Italian restaurant named Ralph Italian Restaurant. This place was built in 1900. The founder of this place is Francisco. Now, it is not named after the father Francisco, but after his son, Ralph. Francisco passed away in the early 1930s, and then Ralph took over the family business. Some famous people to have come to this restaurant include Theodore Roosevelt and Joe Biden, who is the vice president today. Joe Biden came to this restaurant a lot when he was the Senate in Delaware. This place is a family-friendly place and is on the top of most people's list when coming to visit in Philadelphia. Going into our next restaurant after the break. The next place I'm going to talk about is a place everyone in Philadelphia goes to and everyone who's coming in to visit needs to go. The Reading Terminal Market. Founded in 1892, this place has it all. The Reading Terminal Market is not just for food, but is also a train station. This place has just about everything. It has 250 specialized dealers with different types of food, and it has 100 farmers as well when it first opened. Now today, there isn't as much, but the culture and food is still there, and better than ever. This place is so popular that it needs 400 phones to take orders from everyone. The Reading Terminal Market has some bumps in the road as well. This place became bankrupt, and then it was leased to a real estate place, and they drove up the rent for space, which drove 30 out of the 56 merchants still there when this happened. In 1979, only 20% of the space was being used because of the crazy high rents. No one wanted to rent space there. As I said before, this place was also a train station, and in 1984, the last train left from the Reading Terminal. In 1990, the Pennsylvania Convention Center bought this place, and 2 years later, in 1992, the Food Trust was created as a part of the Reading Terminal Market. After this bumpy ride during this period of time, it was finally back to normal. The Reading Terminal Market is 100% occupied in 2000. In Reading Terminal Market, you will find from everything, from restaurants to flowers and plants, even books and ethnic groceries. Everything is there. Now, I know this place is the best and that it should be on the top of anyone's list when coming to Philadelphia because it's family-friendly, has culture, and all around has great food. This place is the place to be when coming to the Philadelphia area. It is located at 51 North 12th Street in Philadelphia. After the break comes our last restaurant, an Italian bakery called Termini's Bro. Welcome back to Foods of Philly, everyone. Now let's get into Termini Brothers, a classic Italian bakery with 4 locations around Philadelphia. The story of everyone's favorite bakery starts in 1921 when 2 brothers came to America. Ruepsi and Galantino were their names. Galantino came to America a year before his brother to find work. Galantino worked at a hat factory, and that was the money that opened up the bakery, Termini's Brothers. The first Termini Brothers is located at 1514 South 8th Street, which is today across the street from the main store. Ruepsi had a son named Vincent Sr., and he worked with his father learning the tools of a great baker at a young age. Ruepsi claimed his success was not from the equipment he had, but was from the passion he had for baking itself. In 1979, he passed away, and the bakery was passed down to his son, Vincent Sr. And the bakery today has now been in the family for 3 generations. This bakery is a classic and is on the list of places needed to go when coming to Philadelphia. After the break, we wrap this podcast up. Welcome back. It has been wonderful going through the Philadelphia food history with all of you, but it's time to wrap this podcast up. Today we talked about the history of the cheesesteak, Tastykake, pretzels, Goldenberg peanut chew, Irish potato, and hoagie. The special story that comes with each and every one of these different Philadelphia classics. We also talked about historic restaurants in Philadelphia, like McGillen's Tavern, Ralph Italian Restaurant, Reading Terminal Market, and Turamini Brothers. All of these places, great historic places on everyone's list when coming to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a great city with amazing culture and food. I hope this was helpful to people getting to know the food history of Philadelphia a bit better. Till next time on Foods of Philly.